Welcome dear students to the next video of chemical properties of alcohol, ethers and phenols. So we were discussing the chemical behaviors of alcohol and we discussed about the acidity of alcohol. Now we will see some chemical reactions involving alcohol. The first reaction that we are discussing is called esterification. Okay, this reaction is called esterification reaction. Esterification. Okay, why? Because the product in all the cases are esters. Okay, so how we can produce esters? So alcohol or phenol, this Ar is aryl part or alkyl. Okay, that means it could be a benzene ring or any alkyl chain. Okay, so we are writing a general equation so that we can solve any reaction involving any molecule. Okay, so this alcohol will react with some carboxylic acid and will form a molecule like that. I will give you few examples relating to these reactions. So ester will produce and a water molecule will produce, and to absorb this water we have used H plus or acid here. This acid will do what? Sulfuric acid we use. So what will sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid will do? It will absorb this water molecule because it's a reversible reaction. In order to so that we have a more rate towards the forward reaction, we will absorb this water using H plus, so we get higher production of esters. In the second reaction, we see that alcohol or phenol, that means aryl or alkyl, reacts with acid anhydride. These are acid anhydride. They look like this actually. Acid anhydride is something like this. Okay, so this is the structure of acid anhydride. So acid anhydride, when reacts with alcohol in presence of acid, it produces same ester and a carboxylic acid. Okay, and in the third reaction we are taking alcohol or phenol with carbonyl chloride. Okay, carbonyl chloride, this is another acid derivative. Okay, this is an acid derivative, and it reacts. When it reacts, it produces ester and HCl. Since HCl is an acid, to neutralize this hydrochloric acid, we have used pyridine here. Pyridine is a base, so it will neutralize the HCl produced in the reaction, so that the reaction takes place in forward direction. Okay, so to neutralize water we used inorganic acid like sulfuric acid to absorb the water, and to neutralize the HCl we have used pyridine in the reaction. Okay, so using these reactions we can produce various types of esters. So let's take a few examples. So one very important example from this type of reaction is COH-OH. This is 2-hydroxybenzoic acid, and when it reacts with, you can see that this is an anhydride, ethanoic anhydride in presence of pyridine. It will produce, so you see this will change where at the position where we have hydroxyl group attached. Okay, let me write it in red color. So this hydroxyl part will change only, rest of the part will remain the same. So this part will change to the and that was R dash. In the general reaction we write it at R dash. So this is the R dash, CH3. Okay, so this is the product and this is called acyl salicylic acid or aspirin. You know aspirin? Aspirin is a very good analgesic. It's very widely used as medicine. So this is a very important compound and it can be prepared by using this reaction, esterification reaction, in which salicylic acid or 2-hydroxybenzoic acid reacts with ethanoic anhydride producing acyl salicylic acid or acetyl salicylic acid, oh sorry, not acyl, acetyl salicylic acid or aspirin. Okay, you can take some few you can take some easy examples also, like suppose we have CH3 COOH reacting with CH3 CH2OH. Okay, so keep in mind the reaction will take place where the OH group is present in presence of H plus. So what will happen, we will keep this part, that means CH3 CH2, and this OH part, this part will get attached first. So O C2H5. Okay, sorry, yeah. So this is our result. It will be CS3, yeah. So we get ethanoic ester. Okay, so ethyl ethanoate. Okay, this is our final result. In this way you can go for some other reactions also, take examples randomly and practice a few reaction, and then you can comment your doubts regarding this reaction. Okay, so in the next reaction that we will talk, so one reaction is reaction with HX, and we have already discussed this reaction in the last chapter as general method of preparation of haloalkanes from alcohol. Okay, what we studied there, that if ROH reacts with HX, then we get RX plus H2O. Okay, in case of chlorine we used zinc chloride. If you can remember, for hydroiodic acid we said that for hydroiodic acid we need at HiO4, for HBr we needed 48% concentrated HBr, and so on. So we have discussed in detail this reaction in general method of preparation for haloalkanes. Okay, now alcohols can also react with phosphorus trihalides. Again we studied this reaction in general method of preparation for haloalkanes, where we used ROH when it reacts with PX3, it could be chlorine or bromine. So what happens? RX plus H3PO3 is produced. Okay, so we have studied this reaction also in the unit 10, alkyl halide and aryl halide. Now we will move to some other reactions. So phosphorus trihalide, and for iodide, can you tell me how we can carry out the reaction of alcohol with iodine in Pi3? So we discussed about that. We discussed that for iodine we need a different reagent. We directly do not take Pi3. Okay, we do something else. So please comment in the comment section that to replace hydroxyl group from iodine, what is the reagent that we will use. Okay, and you have studied in the last chapter. Okay, so the next reaction is dehydration of alcohol. So dehydration of alcohol, what will happen in the dehydration of alcohol? What we are doing? What is dehydration? Dehydration means removal of water, okay? Removal of water. So what we will do, so we have OH, let me write it here. I'm not concerned about the other bonds. So if this is a carbon, so from the adjacent carbon, that means beta carbon, a hydrogen will be removed and we will get a alkene. Okay, this hydrogen will be removed. So how we can remove this hydrogen, this water molecule? We will remove this water molecule. So to remove the water molecule, what we can do, we would be needing something which can extract water or which can absorb water, okay? And I have told you that sulfuric acid is a very good dehydrating agent. Concentrated sulfuric acid is a very good dehydrating agent. So let's take an example. Suppose ethanol when heated with concentrated sulfuric acid, okay, actually I will discuss this reaction in detail when we will be discussing ethers, because this reaction is very a confusing reaction, because I have taken 443 Kelvin temperature and this reaction is very temperature sensitive. If I change the reaction conditions, that means if I change the temperature a little bit, the product will change, okay? The dehydration will take place in another way, okay? So we will discuss this reaction in detail when we will be discussing ethers. For now, you can say that at 443 Kelvin with concentrated sulfuric acid, what will happen? OH and hydrogen from the adjacent carbon, that means from this carbon a hydrogen will be removed, that means a water will be removed, absorbed by sulfuric acid, and we will get a alkene, okay? So we will get alkene, and what kind of alkene? We will get ethene, okay? So basically ethanol is a 1 degree alcohol, okay? So let's take a 2 degree alcohol now. Suppose if we have a 2 degree alcohol, so there will be CH. So in this case the reaction conditions are mild, okay? We will be needing mild reaction conditions to carry out these reactions. H3PO4, okay, simple heating will do and we will get okay. So the reaction is 80% actually, 440 Kelvin heating, that means lesser temperature is required actually, and it will produce a alkene. Let's take 3 degree alcohol. So only the concentration here will be required as 20%, and even the temperature is lower, and we will get okay. So this is our final product. So this is dehydration. Now we will see, we know the products actually, that a hydrogen from the adjacent carbon and the hydroxyl group combine to form a water, and this water is absorbed by means of concentrated sulfuric acid or H3PO4. Now we will see the mechanism of this reaction, that how this reaction takes place. So what will happen, let's take R. Let's take it in another way. Okay, so what will happen in step 1? Okay, so in step 1, proton from the acid, the sulfuric acid or H3PO4, will add up here on, because the alcohol has 2 lone pairs, and what we will get? We will get the alcohol will be converted to an electrophile. In step 2, what will happen? This electrophile, from this electrophile, this water molecule will, move out, or the water molecule will be removed. It will take the shared electron pair. So what will happen? It will produce a carbocation. A carbocation will be produced. Okay, and in the last step, step 3, the carbocations are unstable. We know that because of the formal charge. In order to stabilize this charge, one of the hydrogen from the adjacent carbon will donate its pair of electron, and we will get our required alkene. And you will see that this proton reappears. That means in the step 1, the proton that we took from our acid, the proton that we used from our acid has been given back to the reaction mixture. That means the hydrogen has not been used in this reaction. So acid basically catalyzes this reaction. It behaves as a catalyst in this reaction. Okay, so this is the overall mechanism of dehydration reaction. Okay, now we will discuss some other color. Oxidation. Okay, so what happens in oxidation actually? We are not concerned with all the bonds. This hydroxyl is present, and if one hydrogen is present, what will happen? It will oxidize to the remaining 2 bonds will remain same, and this part, this part will become double bonded oxygen. Okay, so we are not concerned with these 2 bonds. The things that the changes will occur with this hydrogen and this hydroxyl part. Okay, so now we will see the results. Okay, how results will change. So if we have a 1 degree alcohol, then actually it takes, it is converted first it will get converted to something like, we have seen that 1 hydrogen, out of these 2 hydrogens, 1 hydrogen and OH will form this. So 1 hydrogen will remain, so we will get aldehyde, and in the next step further oxidation will produce carboxylic acid. That means the first step of oxidation will produce aldehyde, and the second step will convert it to carboxylic acid. Now we can see, there is a bond here, we can see that The final product is carboxylic acid. That means alcohol gets converted to aldehyde or ketone if if this hydrogen is replaced by an alkyl group. If I take a second 2-degree alcohol or secondary alcohol, then you will see that we will get a ketone, and the third step will not take place. Okay, it will not take place because we don't have any hydrogen where we can add a oxygen. Okay, so then we don't need this step. We need this step when there is a hydrogen here. Okay, so that's why I have deliberately taken 1-degree alcohol. So let's see. So what happens? Alcohol gets converted to aldehyde. Okay, aldehyde. And in the next step, aldehyde gets converted to carboxylic acid. But now suppose if I am carrying out this reaction just to prepare aldehyde only, not acid, then हमें ये वाला प्रोडक्ट चाहिए, ये नहीं चाहिए, तो रिएक्शन को यहाँ रोकना होगा. We have to stop the reaction here, okay, in order to get the aldehyde. So how we can do that? Okay, so to understand that, we have to understand that what kind of oxidizing agent we are using. If we use strong oxidizing agents, then alcohol will finally get converted to acid. That means this is the intermediate step, you can say, that aldehyde that will form will ultimately get converted to acids only. So that means to understand the result of this reaction, we must know that which oxidizing agent is a strong oxidizing agent and what kind of oxidizing agents are mild or weak oxidizing agents. Again, this is one topic from class 11 only. Okay, in class 11 we discussed about you have studied about oxidizing and reducing behavior of different type of molecules. But for this reaction, I will tell you that potassium permanganate KMnO4 in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid or in any acidic or basic medium, actually potassium permanganate in acidic or basic medium is highly oxidizing in nature. This is a strong oxidizing agent. Okay, strong oxidizing agent. And chromic oxide CrO3 in anhydrous conditions, okay, that means no moisture should be present. In anhydrous conditions, CrO3 behaves as a mild reducing agent. Okay, so this solves the purpose. And apart from these two oxidizing reagent, we can have other oxidizing reagents also, like potassium dichromate in acidic or basic medium. So this is another question. You have to tell me in the comment section that whether potassium dichromate in acidic and basic medium is a strong or weak oxidizing agent. Also comment about MnO2, whether it is an oxidizing agent or not, and if it is an oxidizing agent, whether it is a strong oxidizing agent or a weak or mild oxidizing agent. So you have to comment on two things. You have to comment on K2Cr2O7, that means potassium dichromate, and manganese oxide. Okay, now since we know these reagents, so let's see. So what will happen? Suppose if I have a CH3 over here, and if I take CrO3, then this will be the major product, ethanol, because it's a mild oxidizing agent. But if I take KMnO4 in acidic medium, I will get carboxylic acid as a major product. Okay, so this is the difference. Mild oxidizing agent, strong oxidizing agent. We can use to get aldehyde or ketone, we can use a very important reagent, okay, that is called PCC. Okay, to convert it to aldehyde we can use it PCC. What is PCC? PCC is called pyridinium chlorochromate. Pyridinium chlorochromate. Pyridinium chlorochromate is a complex formed by pyridine and chromic oxide, CrO3 and pyridine. When we mix those, mix in a mixture, we get PCC, pyridinium chlorochromate. And pyridinium chlorochromate is a mild oxidizing agent, first of all, and it is a very special character. Okay, it has a very special character, and we will see what is that speciality. First of all, what it will do, since it is a mild oxidizing agent, obviously it will convert it to aldehyde. But what is the speciality of PCC? Okay, so the speciality is, suppose we have a double bond in the chain. We have a double bond here. Okay, from class 11 you know that if I oxidize this compound using chromic oxide or potassium permanganate, this alkene part will also get oxidized. Okay, that means this double bond will change. It will get 2 hydroxyl groups. Okay, but I want, okay, so what will happen? What is the problem? The problem is that if I use a normal oxidizing agent, it will oxidize this part, but it will oxidize this part also as well. So the double bond will change, but I want the oxidation to take place selectively here only. I don't want this part to get changed. So what can I do now? What I have to do? So here comes the role of PCC. Okay, so PCC, the speciality of PCC is that it selectively oxidizes this part only, and the rest of the bonds in the alkyl part will not change. That means we will get okay, so you see the oxidation take place selectively here and double bond was unaffected. But if instead of PCC I use CrO3, it will give a different product. Okay, so now go through the oxidation of alkene in class 11, and you have, this is your question, that comment that if instead of PCC if I use CrO3 or potassium permanganate, what will be the product? This double bond will change for sure. How this double bond will produce the product? Okay, this is organic chemistry. You have to practice a lot, you know. Don't think that the reaction that are involved in class 11 will not be, you know, is useless, or it will not appear in your examination, because the oxidation of alkene produces alcohol. Okay, the oxidation of alkene produces what? Alcohol, and alcohol is in class 12 syllabus, so it's a general method of preparation for alcohol. So in any way you have to practice class 11 reactions also. So don't think that class 11 reactions are not important. Most of the reaction of class 11 are actually general method of preparation in class 12. So in any way you have to go through those reactions. There's no other way. So you have to practice a lot. Okay, now we have discussed this oxidation. I told you that if you oxidize a 2-degree alcohol, you will get a ketone. Okay, and the oxidation of 3-degree alcohol actually gives a mixture of carboxylic acids, and we will discuss this reaction in the general method of preparation for carboxylic acid section, that how a mixture of different carboxylic acid is formed. in this reaction. Now, one another reaction related to alcohol is that when vapors of alcohol is passed over copper metal, okay, when the vapors of alcohols are, let me see whether I have another reaction. There is no reaction, so yeah, so when passed over copper, heated copper, actually vapors of alcohol, then similar kind of reaction take place, okay, the same kind of reactions will take place. That means hydroxyl group will change to either aldehyde or ketone, or in 3-degree alcohols we will see that it will undergo elimination, okay, or dehydration, okay. So let's see few examples. So we have a 1-degree alcohol, we have copper metal 553 kelvins, heated copper, and this is in vapor phase. I have to take, no, it will do. So what will happen? This CH2OH will get converted to CHO. Actually, the CHO is something like this, okay. So same thing, CHO. If I take a 2-degree alcohol, copper, I will get ketone. Okay, and if I take a 3-degree alcohol, so let's take an example of 3-degree alcohol. I have taken CH3 because I will have to remove one hydrogen from the adjacent carbon. So if I take this, it will form a alkene, okay, it will form an alkene. So now you get all the products. So for 1-degree alcohol, reaction with heated copper produces what? Aldehyde. 2-degree alcohols will produce ketone, and 3-degree alcohols will produce alkene, okay. Now let's move to the reactions of phenol, okay, phenol. So since phenol is the same hydroxyl group attached to benzene ring, we have already discussed its acidity. So obviously, since it is attached to a benzene ring, primarily it will show electrophilic substitution, okay. That means most of the reactions involving phenol is electrophilic substitution, and I have discussed electrophilic substitution in all details. Just you have to know that OH is highly activating and orthopara directive. That means if you take dilute nitric acid, what will happen? Since it is orthopara directive, we will get one ortho product and one para product. One ortho isomer and one para isomer, as OH is ortho para directive. And I told you that this is activating also. So what does activating means? The activating means that if I change, and para is major product, I have discussed this earlier also. So if I just change this dilute concentrated acid to concentrated nitric acid, what will happen? Since OH is highly activating group, what will happen? The product will be something like this. That means nitro will be substituted in all the ortho and para position, okay. So this is called 2,4,6 trinitrophenol, or this is called picric acid, okay. This is called picric acid. बहुत तीता होता है, इट टेस्ट वेरी बिटर, यू नो, वेरी वेरी बिटर. व्हेन यू प्रोड्यूस दिस रिएक्शन इन अ मिक्सचर, ये थोड़ा भी अगर टच हो जाए स्किन पे तो काफ़ी दिनों तक आप जो भी खाएंगे वो आपको तीता ही फील होगा. ये बहुत परसिस्टिंग केमिकल है, ये एक बार स्किन पे लग जाए तो काफ़ी दिनों तक वो तीता फील होता है, मतलब बिटर फील होता है, बहुत बिटर है इसका टेस्ट. ओके, इट्स हाईली एसिडिक, पिक्रिक एसिड. ओके, नाउ so since we are discussing nitro substituted phenol, and I told you that that introduction of nitro or any electron withdrawing group, you know, increases the acidity of phenol. So let's discuss the introduction of nitro, that how it influences the acidity. Okay, so let's see, we will compare only ortho and para isomer. Okay, so ortho and para. Okay, so what happens? Nitro is a electron withdrawing group, it can withdraw the electron, so the charges appearing on ortho and para position will be reduced and it will increase the acidity of phenol. And we see that since this ortho position is nearer to this hydroxyl group, actually ortho position is better, you know, it's nearer to hydroxyl, so it has a better tendency to remove the electron. Para is far away from OH, so it will produce the same effect but with less effectiveness. Okay, so what am I telling you, that the position of the electron withdrawing group is very important. If it is nearer to OH, it will be more effective. That means what I am suggesting, that ortho isomer should be a bit more acidic than para isomer. Okay, well, it's true if I take chlorine instead of nitrogen. If I have chlorine as an electron withdrawing group, ortho will have more acidity than para. But in case of nitro, surprisingly, para isomer has more acidity than ortho isomer. And this is, you know, this is the beauty or interesting thing about chemistry, that you know, जिन लोगों ने कोटा फैक्ट्री देखा है उनको पांडे जी का मोनोलॉग बड़ा मजा आता है, नो, पांडे जी का मोनोलॉग है ना, क्या कुछ नहीं किया केमिस्ट्री के लिए, एक्सेप्शन एक्सेप्शन एक्सेप्शन, केमिस्ट्री में सिर्फ एक्सेप्शन है, केमिस्ट्री बहुत डिफिकल्ट है, समझ नहीं आता है, हाँ, कोई थ्योरी एब्सोल्यूट है ही नहीं, 12 इलेक्ट्रॉन 15 इलेक्ट्रॉन, कुछ भी हो जाता है, कुछ भी नहीं हो जाता है. नो एक्सेप्शन इज इलॉजिकल हियर, कोई भी एक्सेप्शन इलॉजिकल नहीं है, सारा एक्सेप्शंस लॉजिकल ही है. यहां यूं ही कुछ नहीं है केमिस्ट्री में, यूं ही ऑर्थो नाइट्रोफिनॉल लेस एसिडिक नहीं होता, देयर इज अ रीजन. ओके, सो लेट्स सी व्हाट इज द रीजन, व्हाई द एक्सपेक्टेशन वाज दैट दिस इज नियरर टू OH, so it should have more acidity but it's less acidic, and why? So we will see that. Okay, so let's see why. Is that so we have a OH bond and we have a, so we know that this bond is polar in nature, oxygen is more electronegative. At the same time, this bond is also polar. Okay, and since the nitro and hydroxy group are very near to each other, a hydrogen bond will form between O and H. Okay, there will be a, and this is called intramolecular. Okay, intra, not inter, this is intramolecular, within the same molecule. So this hydrogen bond will do what? Now see, what do you mean by acidity? In order to behave this molecule as an acid, we must remove this hydrogen. Now, in this molecule, to take out this hydrogen, you have to break this as well as this hydrogen bond also. Now, this hydrogen bond is extra. You need extra energy. This hydrogen bond may be very weak, but कितना ही वीक क्यों ना हो, थोड़ा ताकत तो लगाना होगा ना, थोड़ा सा ज्यादा तो चाहिए. You have to now break these two bonds. Okay, so this hydrogen bond, gives extra stability to this hydrogen. It is difficult to remove this hydrogen in this case, and this is the reason why orthonitrophenol is less acidic than para-nitrophenol. Since in para position, the nitro group is far away from the OH, and it cannot produce intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay, para-nitrophenol cannot form intramolecular hydrogen bonding, and as a result, it is more acidic. Okay, understand? So we have seen electrophilic reaction. Electrophilic reaction, you can try different kind of reagents. Okay, now we will see few important reaction, and from phenol we have two very important reactions. One is Reimer-Tiemann reaction. It's a named reaction, and what happens in the Reimer-Tiemann reaction? Phenol reacts with chloroform and sodium hydroxide, and it produces salicylaldehyde, and this salicylaldehyde can be used to prepare acetyl salicylic acid. Okay, acetyl salicylic acid, and acetyl salicylic acid was what? Aspirin. Okay, so it is used in the preparation of aspirin. Okay, so this is Reimer-Tiemann reaction. Then we have reaction with zinc dust. I'll just remove it. So when phenol is heated with zinc dust, it produces phenol. It produces phenol. When phenol is heated with zinc dust, you will get simple benzene. Okay, oxidation, and strong oxidizing agents are required. This is called quinone. Okay, quinine. So oxidation, these are simple reactions, so you can just practice 2 to 3 times or 4 times. Just write down this reaction 4 or 5 times. Okay, and you will remember these reactions. Okay, there's another named reaction called Kolb's reaction. Kolb's reaction, this is another named reaction, and in Kolb's reaction, phenol reacts with carbon dioxide and sodium hydroxide, followed by acid hydrolysis, and it produces hydroxybenzoic acid. Okay, like we got hydroxybenzaldehyde, that means salicylic aldehyde. Similarly, this is salicylic acid. Okay, hydroxybenzoic acid, and again this molecule can be used in the preparation of acetyl salicylic acid, which is aspirin. Okay, so the main importance of Kolb's reaction and Reimer-Tiemann reaction is that these reactions can be used in the preparation of aspirin. Okay, and aspirin is a very important medicine. Okay, it has very good medicinal uses. It is used as analgesic. Okay, so this is basically our chemical properties related to alcohols and phenols. Okay, alcohol and phenol, we will discuss general method of preparation for ethers and their chemical behavior in coming video lectures. Okay, and we will discuss a few, preparation of few alcohols in the upcoming video. Okay, so my suggestion is that go through these videos carefully, practice these reactions in the regular basis. Okay, and if your time permits, go through your class important, the basic some basic concepts of class 11 also. Okay, and so that, okay, from coming video lectures it is easier for you, because how acidity is determined or how basicity is determined, or basic things related to bonding, boiling point, solubility, these things are very basic things in chemistry and you must know these things. Okay, so please go through simple topics of class 11. Okay, thank you.